Today, I want to talk about running an effective workshop as a business analyst. Workshops usually are an important part of the activities that business analysts will carry out. And there's nothing worse than bringing people together only to waste their time. So, to avoid that, I will share three things that you should do to run an effective workshop. You with me? Number one, you want to plan the workshop. Number two, you want to run the workshop. And number three, you want to follow up after. So let's talk about planning the workshop. When you're setting out to plan a workshop, there are some things that you have to keep in mind to ensure that your workshop is successful. So one of the things you need to keep in mind is to understand what you want to get out of the workshop. What is the objective of the workshop? What do you want to achieve? What do you want people to take away from the workshop after they're done? And the other thing you want to do is to identify the right set of people to invite to the workshop. Identify the stakeholders. You don't want to bring the wrong people to the workshop, especially those that are not going to support what you're doing or those that don't understand why they are there in the first place. Also want to determine the structure, tools, and techniques that you will use to run the workshop. Now, when you're thinking about techniques, there's so many techniques that you can think about, like brainstorming, round robin, but we'll come to that. You want to determine the duration, the location, especially in this day and age. If it's remote, you want to understand what you're going to use to run it remotely. Otherwise, it's in the location that is ideal for you and your stakeholders. Next, running the workshop. So when you're planning to run the workshop, there are a few things that you have to keep in mind. Some of the things that you have to keep in mind include breaking the ice by introducing yourself and getting people to introduce themselves at the same time. Playing a fun game that allows people to sort of loosen up a bit so that they can contribute effectively. Set the ground rules for people to abide by. For example, not using their phones during the workshop. And let the participants know the timing for each of the activities you're going to be carrying out, as well as timing for break time. And it goes without saying, facilitate the workshop using relevant techniques that I spoke about earlier, brainstorming, round robin, using sticky notes, getting people to just pour out ideas, and then you can start grouping and putting them together, looking at trends and looking at differences. And there's no such thing as silent participation. Silent is consent. So you have to let people understand that they need to participate in the event, encourage participation. Finally, following up after the workshop. And this is where you let people know what happens next after your workshop is done. So you want to help people to understand, things like decisions that were made, action points that were taken, who needs to do what, when, and how. And then you have to send out the outputs and then minutes of the meeting or anything that helps people to recall what was happening at the workshop. Now, don't forget to invite them to provide you with feedback because you also want to know if they truly enjoyed the workshop and if they were able to get what you set out at the start, if you're able to get it out of the workshop. I hope these tips have been very, very useful to you. The next time you want to organize a workshop, remember to plan it, to run it, and to follow up afterward. Bye for now.